Good afternoon, I'm John Slater, I own direct distributors here in Whangarei. I'm a ratepayer with a few concerns, a couple that I'd just like to address. What is your intention with regard to one of our major problems, which would be the sewage problem?
I think the basic infrastructure in our town we've got to focus on, and sewage for the health issues alone is the biggest one. I mean, it would be nice to take my grandson down to the beach, we can't.
That's right.
You know, people want to go fishing, they want to collect their seafood. We've just got to really focus and get our harbour right. And I hear what you say, there's been other projects that have been important to some people, because I suppose they've got that little brass plaque on the front that they can say officially opened by. And I mean, I'm sure it can be arranged in the sewage system, you know, sewage system opened by this, and let's lead New Zealand and be one of the cleanest harbours. I mean, our treatment plant, the water when it comes out the end and discharged into Limeburners Creek, and that should be drinkable. And I mean, you're right, you know, 40, 50 years ago they put man on the moon, and here we are today still having polluted harbours. It's pretty basic stuff.
Something must be done.
It's got to be done.
Yes.
They're talking about it, they're saying they've got all this money put aside and they're projecting to spend this amount and this amount. I mean, the talk's good, but we've got to see the action. We've got to actually see the decrease in the amount of spillages. We should be having no spillages per year into our harbour.
Well, we have to do something. If any small business pollutes any of our waterways, we're heavily prosecuted. And yet here we have a council polluting it on a daily basis. Something must be done.
Yeah, well, that's right. What you say, the small businesses in this town, to me, are our lifeline. Without our small businesses, we don't have a community. The people spend money with our small businesses, the retailers, the wholesalers, the car dealers. I mean, without that, our whole town comes to a grinding halt. We can't just rely on certain things like tourism. Tourism's important, sure, but we've got to really look after our community, the everyday people that live here and want to live here, and their futures here. Yeah, but it's a shame. I mean, it used to be fish and all the rest of it up here, and it used to be nice and clear, and it's just getting worse and worse. You're talking about the sewage spills, Renata.
Yes, of course, you can smell it when it's coming here.
Yeah.
And look, the water, it's not really clean. It's not too bad today. But
I can't even see the bottom.
No, you can't see the bottom anyway, but it's quite hard. The main thing is the smell, and when the sewage spill is fresh, you still can see stuff floating around.
Well, I mean, they closed the harbour for 28 days.
Yeah, even this summer you saw the dead ducks and with all the worms. It smelled terrible and it looked ugly. And still people were swimming in the harbour. I couldn't believe it. I don't know if they had no chance or if there was no sign or whatever. I think something needs to get done.
Well, that's one of my big aims, is to try to do something. And I mean, I've got to get a council that wants to make those changes, because I tell you what, our harbour is so important to the economy of our town and the well-being of our town. And yeah, I mean, you live on board your boat. Now, you have holding tanks for your sewage.
Of course, we have holding tanks, and from Reckon North, we get sued if we do let anything going into the water.
Yeah, you mentioned that in your submission?
Yes, I did. It's in a big profile, and you can get fined 20,000.
Yeah.
And that's quite a lot, and the council, they can go with it for nothing.
I think it can have actually a $200,000 fine.
$200,000 fine, or 2 years of jail.
2 years in prison, yeah. Well, I mean, that's what I mean. Well, maybe we should have some of our councillors could be in there, because they've been discharging it, but they've got a resource consent. Look, I really appreciate your interest in this, because the harbour has got to be fixed. I mean, no town in this time and age should have raw sewage going into it. I mean, we've got a beautiful spot here. I mean, it's really the jewel in the crown as far as Whangarei is concerned. And I mean, and you live here. This is your backyard.
We live here. It's for Whangarei. It's the most or the main tourist attraction. It is the harbour anyway, or the river. It's our future. You know, the kids, they want to play in it, and the fish has to live, and whatever. You know, it's stone time.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting you say that, because I spoke to a gentleman last summer who was in the boatyard, North Sand boatyard, and he'd sailed out from Tonga, and he said he'd anti-fouled his boat when he was in Tonga, and it wasn't until he actually arrived in the Whangarei harbour that he could just about practically see the growth occurring day by day on his boat. Yet all that time it had been clean, and when he came up the river, the growth started, and he had to re-clean the anti-fouling. So I mean, there's obviously an issue there, and I mean, mangroves are another thing. I mean, they survive on the nutrients, and that's what the sewage provides, those nutrients for the mangroves, and that's why we're getting mangrove problems. So, you know, I've listened, and I really take it on board, and I've been passionate. I was involved with the Save Our Harbour March in the beginning, and we've marched, and I mean, we had 600 odd people turn up and march through the streets of the town, just to tell council that, yeah, we've got to fix this, and it's really one of my biggest aims is to fix this problem once and for all.
Yeah, it's time. You know, Europe did it already. They had the same problem, and why not learning from other nations?
That's right.
And don't make the mess first, try to avoid it. And I think it's time to do
I really appreciate your concern, and I do appreciate you putting in submissions, you know, and you live in the water, and it's really, really dear to your heart, and you've put a lot of effort in too with your submission process, and other people on boats, and that it's been really great to see that special good response.
And I'm happy that you came by to talk with it, that you had the time and that you listened to things.
No problem at all.
It's great.
Well, you know what to do. If you want the changes that I want, tick the box in October and I'll do my best for you.
Thanks.
Okay, thanks very much. You have a good day.
Hi, I'm Jason. I've lived in Whangarei most of my time. I've certainly lived in Northland all my life. Local politics is obviously of interest at the minute. I've got a question for Warren. So, my family, we all fish and dive. We've got a little daughter. She's sort of coming of age where she's sort of up and about and wanting to be a little bit more active. She enjoys the beach. She likes exploring the shoreline. I dive. My wife enjoys fishing. My parents do the same. What are you going to do about the harbour and cleaning it out? It's not really good for anything at the minute.
No, well, you're right there, Jason. It's been a real big issue for many years in Whangarei, and here we are today, and you look at the water and it's just that horrible brown colour, and that's something I've campaigned for vigorously, been involved with the Save Our Harbour group. Every chance I've had with submissions, it's been put a plug in to get the harbour cleaned up, and I think that's something we've got to really focus on with the spending. With our rate, we've got to really look at upgrading our sewage system, bring it up to the state of the art, so that the water that's discharged from the treatment plant is drinking quality. That's what the quality we've really got to look at. I know it's going to be expensive, and it's going to have to be a long-term plan, 10, 15 years, but we've got to put the plan into action now and start making progress, because they've just been putting band-aids on it and making excuses, and I really think it's a major issue, and I'm pleased you brought that up.
So start at the ground and work up.
Yeah, that's what you've got to do. You've got to get your basic infrastructure is the important things. I mean, even with development, you can't afford to develop if your basic infrastructure is not up to the standard to withstand what you've got on top. All right, you happy with that, or?
Yeah, well, I think so. I mean, we've got to start somewhere. So
that's right. We've got to start now.
To do it, let's go and make it.
I mean, if we put it off, it's just going to get more and more expensive, and that's what's been happening. There's always a catch-up time. It's all right saying we have zero rate increase, but there's always going to be a catch-up time.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's what's happening, and we're going to have to start looking at it seriously, real seriously.
I'm Vanessa McGoldrick. I'm a disabled advocate for the Whangarei community, and I'm also a legal executive with Henderson Reeves Connell Wishworth. I'm here today talking with Warren Slater, who's a candidate for the local mayor for Whangarei.